Sure hope this video doesn't age poorly before it comes out. Ever since Kazuhisa Wada has wanted to branch out the Persona series to more genres, the series has kind of been all over the place, and I already talked about that. Anyways, Persona 5 Arena has been talked about at least a few times in the last 5 years. In fact, since the registration of the domain in 2017 by ATLUS, it's kind of been the thought to be next logical step spin-off for the Persona 5 series of games. And now it's 2023, and it still hasn't happened. We're hearing rumors about Persona 3 Remake and Persona 6, but nothing really Persona 5. So I guess the question is Persona 5 Arena actually happening?
Excellent.
There is actually evidence that Joker, or the Persona 5 protagonist, was supposed to appear in Persona 4 Arena. There's an announcer call for P5 Hero, or Persona 5 Hero, that's in the game's files.
P5 Hero. Persona 5 Hero.
Now, this isn't necessarily proof that this was going to be the overall plan. It's possible this sound file exists for other reasons. There's also a sound file for Persona.
Mephistopheles.
While it's not guaranteed that all of these are associated with each other, it's possible that Joker, in an early form, was going to be playable as kind of a teaser for Persona 5. It's a cute idea that was probably scrapped due to the fact that a lot of information and a lot of designs weren't really set in stone, and it's evident by the fact that there was no name chosen for the character, and, well, that's not our setting. So while it is possible that P5 would have appeared in P4 Arena, in some degree, it wound up not happening. And this isn't necessarily proof of anything Persona 5 Arena related, but it does show that they were thinking about P5 while P4 Arena was happening. The game was also literally in development at that time, but you get the point.
All they want are easily recognizable brands.
I think I've talked about this at great lengths, but I'll be quick and give a general summary and reiterate everything here for those of you who have seen the other video. ATLUS likes to register domains for their potential spin-off games. A lot of these are just future-proofing in case they get used. It doesn't guarantee anything. And I mean, yeah, you would want to secure domain names for games like Persona 6, 7, and 8, and even some P5-related spin-offs that you might have in mind. It happened with P5R, P5S, P5D, and there are several registered domains that either are still unused or were left to expire, or have been renewed over and over again as time has passed. P5U is the one that we're looking at here. It's existed since 2017, the same year Persona 5 released in the West. And if you're wondering why it's P5U and not P5A, Persona 4 Arena was called Persona 4 Arena The Ultimate in Japan, therefore abbreviated to P4U, as P4A was already designated to Persona 4 The Animation, the same way P5A is Persona 5 The Animation. Anyways, point being that P5U has been renewed over and over again throughout these past 6 years, and that makes it feel like it's possibly pointing to the fact that this game has been in some active form of development for the past 6 years.
Advancement cannot occur without both thesis and antithesis.
So back in my Persona 6 video, I mentioned that there was a job listing for P Studios that said having interest in developing for Unreal Engine was a plus. Well, let's take a look at something here. Persona 4 Arena was developed by Arc System Works. For those of you who don't know who that is, ArcSys is responsible for a lot of games, fighting games, including ones like Guilty Gear, BlazBlue, and DNF Duel. There of course are many other ones that I'm not mentioning right now, but to get more to the point, Persona 4 Arena was a sprite-based game, a visual style that it seems Arc System Works has kind of left in the past. The team responsible for the Persona series, P Studios, was overseeing the development of Persona 4 Arena. And in the meantime, let's talk a little bit more about Arc System Works. More recently, their games have been developed using Unreal Engine, and it's very likely that if Persona 5 Arena is in development, then it might be using Unreal Engine as well. This, of course, assumes that ArcSys is also working on the game. So as long as P Studios and ArcSys are collaborating on this game, I find it very likely that they would be using Unreal Engine to make it. It's not that I'm saying that that job listing was definitely for Persona 5 Arena and couldn't be for Persona 6, but I find it a lot more likely that saying having an interest in Unreal Engine is a plus and not necessarily a requirement, might just mean that they may not be working directly on Persona 6, and Persona 6 could still be using the P5 engine. But I'm rambling on a bit here. My point is just that having a listing for someone for P Studios who understands and is interested in Unreal Engine kind of might make me think that they're working on Persona 5 Arena. It's just a theory.
Do you really need this?
I'm sure there are a lot of people out there asking this question. I personally think that there is decent room for Persona 5 Arena. I know there are a lot of people who don't really want it, as fighting games can be kind of niche, and buying the whole fighting game for probably a several hour long visual novel story isn't really super enticing. But I do think P5 Arena actually has a lot of potential to bring characters together. The casts of P5R and P5S have not all met each other. There's still more interaction to be had, and more to really just play around with. And we could also potentially see some tie-ins with Persona 3 and Persona 4. There's never been any actual canonical interactions between them. It's just fun fan service for the sake of fun fan service, I suppose. And as fighting games are all about roster, Persona 5 Arena could easily hit 12 to 13 characters without really giving much thought behind who they would add. Giving us some story to follow, some nice character interaction fan service, I think that's fair enough for a new Arena game. I'd also like it if the fighting game part was actually good. That'd be pretty awesome too. But I guess if you're asking if the story really needs this, then no. Obviously no. Persona really doesn't need any spin-offs. Most of the main games end and that's it. But we're likely not seeing a brand new entry in the series for a while longer. And it feels like we could use at least one more P5 spin-off to cover the gap. We haven't seen any new games from P Studios for 3 years. And that's kind of weird considering their track record pre-pandemic. Of course, that would have also affected their production, but I feel like what I'm trying to say here is that we should be seeing some kind of P5 spin-off sooner or later. So if you want me to answer, do I think Persona 5 Arena is actually happening? The answer is yes. I mean, this domain has been renewed so many times and also very recently. The game has been in the work for years, then it may have had to evolve due to the other spin-offs. In the end, I think it's just likely that Arena will happen, and it's a matter of when. And you should leave whether you think Persona 5 Arena is happening or not, as well as what you think of the potential idea, down in the comments below. As always, I'd appreciate it if you leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to the channel for more things Persona, ATLUS, and JRPG related. So a quick side note to those of you who don't know, this video was recorded and made and, put all together before the announcement of this funny mobile title here that just got announced. So that's cool, I guess, it's not like I said, hopefully this video won't age poorly, and it did, so that's nice. But we'll talk about that another time. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.